Alexei, how are you? Yes, I hear they're about to deploy you. This is how they're going to try to spin it. They're going to try to say you're Secret Service. You have a special assignment for the president. Forget whatever you actually did. You're very, very important, and even if you don't agree, and even if you caught them involved with crime, you're very important, Alexei. For what I understand, they're trying to work on you some scenario they already did on me. This is what all of their backdating of the stocks are trying to do, and all of their tampering with the records are trying to do. So let me try to give you some advice as a comrade to another comrade. From what I understand, they're specifically trying to traffic you in connection with outstanding obligations associated with uranium. Now, if you mean what you say about trying to run for president or trying to be in the leadership of the country, at some point you're going to have to deal with policy around uranium anyway. This could be very important experience for you, the kind that nobody else is going to have, right? Well, at least not from your country. So, let's see. 2009, September 2009, was a very important time frame. There used to be information available on the Cameco website that described various investments that were ongoing. Now, Cameco has a very significant relationship with Kazakhstan. The primary extraction of the uranium comes from Kazakhstan, but there were very important deals that were set up with China. And they got manipulated over the years. There was some very significant bad faith involved that nobody's ever dealt with. And they like to try to get other people to deal with these instead of dealing with them directly. I've never understood this indirect approach myself. It's not something I prefer. This is why I'm talking to you directly, if you understand. But if I'm correct, they're going to try to do something similar, and the circumstances already seem to have been set up. You have to understand this is very, very racist. They're going to attempt to make it appear as if it is some sort of white nationalism or white supremacy, while they specifically and strategically posit a sort of dark skinned, usually actually African, as the sort of major situation, but try to have somebody else approximate the African. This reminds me of what our comrade from Finland said. Do you remember? He was discussing this about how when they were doing these offers of asylum to refugees from Iraq and from other parts of the Middle East, a part of what was happening is they were appearing as black, that they took on a status as if they were black. I understand this is about very, 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 very bad cyber sabotage. But I'm trying to work on that now, well, 10 years later, right? What you have to deal with is an understanding that these sort of racialized scenarios are going to be set up, and I believe they are going to try to engage you in some process of reprogramming or implantation for later activation as a way to attempt to maintain a discrediting of you politically and have some influence on your network. The understanding is that at some point they're either going to have to repudiate you and repudiate your association with them to be relinquished to somebody else for their absorption and future use and benefit, or they're going to go the way you're going, right? And so, if I'm correct with these timelines, you've already gone through a specific period of a particular period of time where you had the initial assessment, then you had the initial emergency treatment. Now you've gone through some administrative process. It may or may not actually be accurate, while other things have been set up concurrently that will materialize later with more definitiveness than has already been confirmed. But if I'm correct, you have at least, insofar as they would be working derivative scenarios connected to what I did, at least 6 months. At least 6 months from your deployment to get reprogrammed. And then after that 6 months, after some deals have been secured, if you demonstrate a certain level of compliance, they may give you an option. And with that option, then you're going to actually be connected to the scenario that is going to do this swap out. Up until then, you may get something connected to your own sort of situation that you have some familiarity with. But if the timelines are correct, in the 6 month period, then they are going to be involved in these very, very significant bad faith deals that are a revisitation of what happened with those original uranium deals. Now, I cannot say specifically what is going on. This particular company has obscured much of the information that used to be available. It's only if you were paying attention for a certain period of time and you got the information while you could, that you could put the timeline together. But my understanding is that they're making moves right now. And they have an intention to deliver on others very, very soon. So, if you pay attention and keep your wits about you and don't do drugs, you might be in a very, very, very advantageous position when 10 years from now? I mean, they might actually give your identity to somebody else 10 years from now, so they'll actually be in a very advantageous position. But I know now who you are. I'll remember you as long as I can. If you get out in a couple of months and want to look me up, I would be very appreciative to hear from you. I won't do that thing that people did to me, which is where they try to give another story than what actually happened, and just refuse to talk to me unless I agree to cooperate with a completely inaccurate, fraudulent, and slanderous version of what actually happened when I knew them. But I'm sure you know as well as I do, this is how torture works. And right now, that's the only thing they're paying for.